Hello, welcome everyone. All newcomers, all people who have been here before, y'alls are welcome to take a listen as I attempt to narrate this book. So today we're getting into the second portion of The Secret America of Destiny by Manly P. Hall. We got through The Secret America of Destiny, and now we're reading America's Assignment with Destiny. And yeah, there were lots of pretty intense words last time. I I tried my hardest. There was a lot more pauses than I'd hope. But yeah, let's see what shakes. Let's learn some new things. Hey Sass, welcome, dude. We're just starting right in right now. All right, American Indian mysticism. All the Aboriginal tribes of North America practice mystical and magical rites, and vestiges of an esoteric tradition, served by a priestly class distinguished for sagacity and personal integrity, are still to be found among surviving groups. Scattered over a vast area and divided further by lack of a common language, these nomadic bands were approaching the horizon of national existence when the European colonists conquered their lands, decimated their tribes, and destroyed their cultural patterns. So diversified were the traditions of these people that it is difficult to summarize their beliefs and doctrines, especially after their legends, histories, and religious institutions were corrupted by outside influences. The European colonists were of no mind to search for the mystical secrets of the Indian, quote, lifeway, unquote. These settlers brought their own religious beliefs, which they were resolved to force upon the natives. There were no ethnologists or anthropologists among the Puritans, and many important landmarks of Indian philosophy were destroyed before they had been honestly investigated or appraised. Most of the tribal lore was in the keeping of priests and elders, and if these were killed or died without finding suitable successors, the traditions ended. Even today, older Indians find it difficult to select younger men to perpetuate the sacred institutions. Thus, it is unwise to assume that from available fragments, a complete picture of Indian mysticism can be reconstructed. The Indian has always been an individualist, and neither circumstance nor inclination induced him to form extensive intertribal organizations. His way of life and the vast silences of his homeland caused him to turn within himself for courage, wisdom, and faith. He could not visit distant shrines of learning or sit at the feet of famous teachers. There were no books to ponder and no ancient sages to guide his religious convictions. Few strangers visited his camp with news or opinions from far places. He was part of a small family, and the tribal life, with its simple lore, was his only source of cultural tradition. A thoughtful observer of nature about him, the Indian lived constantly in the presence of mysteries, with no reference frame other than his own imagination. Through though stoical in appearance, he was highly emotional, as indicated by his songs, dances, and festivals. His sensory perceptions were acute, and his legends indicate strong dramatic instincts. Among advanced tribes, according to Dr. Franz Boas, an elaborate series of esoteric doctrines and practices exist, which are known to only a small portion of the tribe, while the mass of the people are familiar only with part of the ritual and with its esoteric features. For this reason, we often find the religious beliefs and practices of the mass of a tribe rather heterogeneous as compared with the beliefs held by the priests. Heterogeneous, 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 as compared with the beliefs held by the priests. Among many of the tribes in which priests are found, we find distant esoteric societies. And it is not by any means rare that the doctrines of one society are not in accord with those of another. Esoteric forms of religion in charge of priests are found among the tribes of the arid region of the Southwest, the tribes of the southern Mississippi Basin, and to a less extent among the more northerly tribes on the plains. It would seem that, on the whole, the import of the esoteric teachings decreases among the more northerly and northeasterly tribes of the continent. The medicine priests were trained by their predecessors or were called to their life work by some miraculous incident. The little Indian boy who early in life showed a tendency to dreams and visions was encouraged to select his career. In a highly organized tribal system, he was initiated into the religious institutions of his nation, receiving the lore of the old priests and fragments of tribal history. If he belonged to some small, wandering band, his entire spiritual education had come from within and was induced by fasting and vigil. Yeah, man, fasting and vigil. The vigil was the most widely practiced religious discipline of the Amerins. Merinds. In all matters of emergency or great decision, the Indian sought solitude. He went alone to some high place, built a small campfire, planted about him a circle of prayer plumes, smoked the ceremonial pipe, and watched through the long hours of the night for voices. And then we have a picture here, and it says Amerindian pictograph of Manabozo, the god of light and the hero friend of mankind. And then for that quote up here, where did that start? Where did that quote start? By Dr. Franz Boas. It says, see Handbook of American Indians, Smithsonian Institution, Bulletin 30, article Religion. Oh, the Smithsonian. No way. I haven't thinking about that. Michael, welcome. Hey, Concord, good to meet you, man. Welcome. Welcome in. Bahama Breeze, nice to meet you too. Welcome all. So yeah. Oh, the picture, right. Okay, so I was playing around with my camera, and let's see if I can't even, I have it so that I can hopefully make this. Let me just see where my Zoom is at right now. Advanced. Okay, 141 is where my focus is. Okay, now let's try and focus this in so you can actually see it. From Emerson's Indian Myths. Cool, right? Okay, now 141 I said. Zoopa doopa doopa doop. There it is. Okay. Now, back to this screen so I can see you guys when I look up. Awesome. The voices instructed him in the herbs of healing, taught him the songs and dances, and brought him news of what was transpiring in distant places. There are many stories about medicine priests learning to leave their bodies at will and journeying into the shadowland to guide the dying to the home of ghosts. Many of these grand old mystics were wise in the ways of the spirit and should be regarded as duly initiated members of esoteric orders. The miraculous powers of the medicine priests extended over a wide variety of phenomena. They healed the sick, protected their tribes, directed the migrations of their peoples, and sought by extrasensory means the location of food, water, and other necessities. They predicted the future, induced rain and storms, projected themselves to distant places, and read the hearts and minds of their fellow men. It was in their power to induce visions and trances, and to receive the impressions of the star spirits. They also gained considerable proficiency in the mesmeric and hypnotic arts. So a couple years ago, I went to have a past life regeneration hypnosis session through if I can't remember it, it's Dolores Cannon's program. And it was really interesting, I'll say. It was very interesting, but I did not feel hypnotized. And even during the hypnotization, um I told the lady, you know, I don't really feel like I'm hypnotized right now. I just feel like I'm explaining in greatest detail what is coming to my imagination first, you know, these images that I was seeing. And I was in a really relaxed state. And I like the idea of some of the lives that you drop down into. Like the first life that I dropped down into, I was a tree. And that was really cool. I got really emotional. I got really emotional when she said, now skip or now flash forward to the last day of your life, of this lifetime. And and it was fire, and it was like me and my whole family of trees in this grove were like aflame. And I just started, like, it overwhelmed me. Now, I mean, I feel a lot. I have a lot of emotions, but it really took me over out of nowhere. Um, so that I account for that, but sometimes I think maybe it's like in that movie, The Matrix. The Matrix. Uh, when Neo goes to see the Oracle, she tells him and shows him only what he is ready to see. And I wonder if that's what that's like. I also wonder if that's maybe what like astral projection is like. You see only what you are needing to see for your level of understanding at that time. Or and maybe it has to do with our perception too, right? Like our perception, what we see can only be through what we're perceiving, eh? Like that story they tell in that book, The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, about the Native Americans that their shamans and their spiritual leaders were the only ones who could even perceive that they were seeing these boats and these ships out on the ocean, because it wasn't something they'd ever seen before. So nobody in the tribe could see them, but like the shaman goes out there and stands and watches, and he's finally able to see them. Anyhow, perception, hypnotic arts, past lives, all questions, right? Oh, one other interesting thing that that really cool lady that I had that session with said, she said uh that now, in this day, at this time, in this year, that we're not that people don't go down into deep hypnosis anymore like they used to. So, I don't know. Interesting. It felt like a cop out to me. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I thought. Or maybe I do, and I'm just still questioning it all, right? Okay. So, Charles F. Loomis, who spent many years among the Southwest Indians of the United States, described the miracles performed by the medicine priests. Although naturally skeptical, his experiences among the Navajo and Pueblo Indians impressed him deeply. Mr. Loomis mentions how Indians seated in their medicine lodge created miniature thunderstorms within the room, accompanied by flashes of forked lightning, while the outside sky was entirely clear. He says how, quote, how the effects are produced, I am utterly unable to explain, but they are startlingly real. He was also impressed by the ability of the priests to change themselves into animals in the presence of spectators. Some priests could create an artificial sun inside the lodge. This miniature luminary rose in the eastern side of the room, crossed overhead, and set in the west during the performance of the sacred chants. Amerindian priests grow the sacred corn in exactly the same way that the East Indian mendicant grows his mango tree. The magician plants the seed, which grows immediately, and about 3 hours later, the stalk is laden with fully developed ears of corn. Dude, this stuff makes my whole, it makes me feel that buzzing, right? Like, ah. Okay. Other writers have reported that in some time of the medicine lodges, the Indians are able to levitate large stones and to cause their own bodies to float in the air. Unprejudiced observers have been forced to conclude that among most tribes, the Amarans' magical rituals are performed involving the use of natural forces beyond the normal experience of human beings. There's an asterisk, and then down here it says, see Some Strange Corners of Our Country by Charles F. Loomis. Okay, I'm going to have to go and see about that, right? The Amerindic concept of cosmogony paralleled, in a general way, that of the Chaldeans and other peoples who dwelt in the valley of the Euphrates. The world consisted of 3 regions, with human beings inhabiting the surface of the central zone. Above this middle land was an airy expanse extending to the abode of the Skyfather. Below the surface were subterranean levels extending downward to the place of the Earth Mother. This cavernous region was like the dark and shadowy underworld of the pre-Homeric Greeks. In the Southwest legends, human beings originated beneath the earth in a kind of paradisical land. There also were mountains, valleys, and beautiful plains, and a sun and moon that lighted the region. In the beginning, everyone was happy, but later an evil deed brought upon them the wrath of the gods. In most accounts, this lovely shadowland was destroyed by a flood. In some miraculous manner, a few righteous persons were preserved and took refuge on a tall plant, which, growing rapidly, finally broke through the surface of the middle land, bringing the survivors to safety. Interesting thoughts here. Thinking about some of the delusions maybe being like on the inside. Oh my gosh, right? Wow. Oh, cool, dude. I hope the painting's going magnificently. That's wonderful. Wow, bringing the survivors to safety. The secrets of healing, prophecy, and magic come to the Indian from an order of beings called Minitos. This Algonquin word is now applied to the concept of powerful governing spirits. The Manitos were not actually gods, but superhuman man-like creatures, possessing extraordinary attributes and frequently considered as giants. Ha 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 ha! The Nephilim. So, gosh, this stuff is so cool. All right. Isn't life so cool? Oh my gosh. All right. The size factor, however, is figurative rather than literal. Oh Lord. Okay, all right. Okay. The Manitos were a divine invisible tribe, masters of magic, to whom human beings could turn for help and guidance whenever necessity arose. Ooh, sounds like the Druids. Dude, I need to put some chapstick on my dry lips. Doesn't that mean someone's thinking about me? My nose is so itchy. Oh, right. So, could turn for help and guidance whenever necessity arose. So there's a picture up here. And it says Navajo Indian magicians growing the sacred corn. And this is from Loomis's Strange Corners of Our Country. So yeah, let me pull up that focus again so that I can show you this picture all nicely in light. 141. Cool. Boop. Okay. The effort to explain the term manito as only signifying a wonderful power and synonymous with the Iroquois' orenda is not sufficient to meet the requirements of the Indian religious philosophy. Orenda conveys more precisely a power or energy universally present in animate and inanimate creatures, and manifesting through the vital processes which cause things to exist, to function, and to affect their existing and functioning things. It might be safer to assume that the Manitos represented the intelligence controlling and directing the wonderful power. The Indian, therefore, was confronted with the same basic question which disturbs even the most advanced physicist, namely, is there a supreme intelligence governing universal procedure? Right? Quote, the religious concepts of the Indians, writes Dr. Boas, may be described in two groups, those that concern the individual and those that concern the social group, such as tribe and clan. The fundamental concept bearing on the religious life of the individual is the belief in the evidence of magic power, which may influence the life of a man, and which in turn may be influenced by human activity. In this sense, magic power must be understood as the wonderful qualities which are believed to exist in objects, animals, men, spirits, or deities, and which are superior to the natural qualities of man. And then the asterisk says, see Handbook of American Indians, Smithsonian Institution, Bulletin 30, Article Religion. I got a lot of weird feelings about the Smithsonian. Most religions and metaphysical philosophies include hierarchies of divine creatures or tutelary spirits as mediators between the supreme being and mortals. The Manitos acted as wise distributors of the orenda. The Indian fashioned these demigods in his own likeness, but bestowed upon them superior powers. The Manitos were aware of the most secret human thoughts and the most pressing human needs, and were capable of responding immediately to the rituals of the priests and elders. When the medicine man journeyed to the spirit land, he might be invited to attend a council of Manitos. When he came to the great lodge in the sky, it resembled an earthly council place, except that it was larger, more elegant, and usually filled with a strange light. The Manitos were venerable sachems, usually handsome old men, their faces full of kindness. All right, we got to look it up. Sachems, sachems. The Manitos were venerable sachems, usually handsome old men, their faces full of kindness. So Santa Claus, Sachems. Oh, right, I got to get over there. Hey, thanks, Sass. Sachems. Sachem.
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 Sachem. Okay. It is a boss or leader. Ooh, a sachem. Okay, so a mafia sachem. Wow. Okay. Cool. Now I know a new word. We know a new word. Sachem. Sachem.
Sachem.
Okay. Okay. Now, where is that word sachem on this page? I was getting close to. Or wait. Eee! Sachem. Ah. The Manitos were venerable sachems, usually handsome old men, their faces full of kindness. Wow. So a benevolent boss. Okay. Okay. There was a council fire, the smoking of the calumet, and the usual speeches and discussions. So calumet, that's a plant, right? Calumet. It's an herb, I think. The lodge was a kind of superphysical senate where all matters of grave import were decided. When the session was concluded, the priest returned to his people along the Sky Road and reported the decisions to the Great Lodge, which is capitalized. Between the Manitos and mankind were the souls of the illustrious dead. These were the olds and the trues, the sages of long ago, the great chieftains, warriors, and statesmen. They had led their people in life, so they continued to guard them from the other land. Speaking through the medicine men, it seemed natural to the Amarans that the heroes who had gone before should continue to serve the tribes they had guided in the long ago. They had guided in. It seems natural to the Amarans that the heroes who had gone before should continue to serve the tribes they had guided in the long ago. Totemism was a kind of heraldry among the Indians. The totem was the clan symbol, but more than that, it was a channel for the distribution of orenda through the social and political structure of the clan. The totemic animal or bird was a spirit guardian, helpful because the creature possessed attributes superior in some particular to those of men. The attribute might be swiftness, strength, cunningness, or resourcefulness, and these qualities the totem creature shared with those under its guardian. Son of a gun. Totem creature shared with those under its guardianship. Each Indian also had his own totem, and while it took a familiar form, it was identical in principle with the guardian daemon described in works on the Egyptian and Chaldean mysteries. It was considered a good omen to see one's totem while practicing vigil or in dreams or trances. It proved the proximity of a protecting power. The Abbé Favena, capitalized, a missionary in the Algonquins, identifies the totem from Ot, the Ototman of the Chippewas. Ooh, I live right near a town called Chippewa. With the Manito concept in these words, it is to be presumed that in uniting into a tribe, each clan preserves its Manitao, the animal which in the country whence the clan came was the most beautiful or the most friendly to man, or the most feared, or the most common, the animal which was ordinarily hunted there, and which was the ordinary subsistence of the clan, etc. And this animal became the symbol of each family, and that each family transmitted it to its posterity to be the perpetual symbol of each tribe or clan. Modern ethnologists have emphasized that the popular usage of the term totem is incorrect. The symbol is not strictly religious, but involves a social and family concept with emphasis on the importance of kinship. Cool. It's like a crest or like your clan plaid. Many tribes, especially the Plains Indians, believed that thunder and lightning were caused by enormous birds. The rumbling sounds in the sky accompanying storms were due to the flapping of their wings, and the flashes of light were caused by the opening and closing of their eyes. In some groups, only one thunderbird was recognized. In other tribes, there were several of various colors, or a family of them. The appearance of the bird or birds is not definitely given. It might be similar to a large hawk, an eagle, or even a grouse. The thunderbird could use its wings as a bow to shoot arrows, and small meteors were believed to be the heads of these arrows. On the plains, thunderstorms were said to result from a contest between a thunderbird and a huge rattlesnake, or dragon-like monster. Persons struck by lightning, if they recovered, were accepted as sages or holy men, having received a very strong medicine from the experience. Right? In some areas, the thunderbird was closely associated with the religious mysteries or societies. Those who saw this creature in their vigils usually considered themselves as intended for a religious life. The myths and legends of the thunderbird are similar to the European and Asiatic accounts of the fabled phoenix, which nested in flames and symbolized initiation and adeptship. Early drawings of the Great Seal of the United States indicated that the bird represented thereon was a phoenix rather than an eagle. Like the Mexican coat of arms, which shows an eagle with a serpent in its claws, the American device is strongly reminiscent of a thunderbird. These creatures were also said to inhabit a sky world above the clouds and served as messengers between mortals and the heavenly beings. Farther south, the thunderbird symbol merged with the quetzal and the serpent feathered with the quetzal plumes. The quetzal was identical in meaning with the phoenix of Asia, North Africa, and the Near East. The feathered serpent symbolism can be traced back to the hooded Nagas, or serpent gods of India, and to the winged serpents which occur in the writings and scripturings of the Egyptians. Ooh, okay, I see where I am. Pause for some coughing here. Matt Man, hey dude, welcome in. You can't hear me? Oh, just because I muted? Can you guys hear me? Oh, I'm such a dork. You got me. You got me, dude. Okay, good. Panic. Okay. Okay. Damn it, dude. Okay. The serpent was the messenger and servant of the Earth Mother because it dwelt below ground. For this reason, rattlesnakes were released during the snake dances, in order that they might carry the petitions of the tribe to the mother who dwelt below. Birds were also carriers of tidings, and as they flew upward, they bore with them prayers to the Great Father who lived in the Sky Lodge. That's capitalized. The Thunderbird was the most powerful and was the lord of flying things. The Thunderbird and the feathered snake were symbolic of the mysteries of the upper and lower regions. Priestly orders served this twofold cult, the secrets of which were revealed only by an internal mystical experience. Brinton, describing various devices used by the Amerindian tribes to conserve their religious secrets, says, all these stratagems were intended to shroud with impenetrable secrecy the mysteries of the Brotherhood. With the same motive, the priests formed societies of different grades of illumination, only to be entered by those willing to undergo trying ordeals whose secrets were not to be revealed under the severest penalties. The Algonkins had 3 such grades: the Waubeno, the Meda, and the Jasakid, the last being the highest. To this no white man was ever admitted. All tribes appear to have been controlled by these secret societies. Okay, so the asterisk says, see Myths of the New World, New York, 1876. All right. Among the Amerindians, secret societies existed for the perpetuation and enlargement of the choicest knowledge of the tribe. There were war associations, healing cults, and fraternities considered with the religious mysteries, the keeping of records, and the dramatization of myths. There were ethical societies, orders of mirth makers, firewalkers, and hunters. Mirth makers. Oh, that wasn't the end of the sentence. Firewalkers and hunters, presided over by elders who had distinguishing regalia. Women frequently became leaders of the groups. Among the Pueblo Indians, there were often a dozen or more societies in one village. While their objectives were not always parallel, there was no friction between the memberships, and they united in all common responsibilities. And then it says, see Dr. John Swanton, A Handbook of North American Indians article, the article Secret Societies. While their objectives were not always, the Indian was always a tolerant man on the subject of spiritual convictions. He never inquired as to the faith of his guest, but expected that every true believer would conduct himself in an honorable way. He respected the rights of strangers, and if he did not share in them or did not understand their meanings, he kept a respectful silence. The reference to the dramatization of myths suggests that a number of Indian tribes were practicing the same method of presenting religious mysteries that were employed by Greeks and Egyptians. Most Indian festivals emphasized songs and dances, but the songs were used principally to establish rhythms, and the words were of slight importance. Okay. Wait. So let me do that again. Most Indian festivals emphasized songs and dances, but the songs were used principally to establish rhythms, and the words were of slight importance. Chants were the vital element in most healing ceremonies. Right. Chants and trance. Either the Western Hemisphere received a vital religious stimulus from early voyagers and travelers from distant parts, or else the Indian himself, by mystical experiences, shared a common inspiration with the priestly castes of their nations. Which probably has something to do with mushrooms too, right? And psychedelics. The psychologists would probably assume that the esoteric tradition originated in the spiritual needs of the human being, regardless of his race or place of habitation. The search for reality gradually brought into being specialized groups of intensive truth seekers. These groups produced their own leaders, and such wise men and women were acknowledged as divinely inspired, received spontaneous admiration and devotion, were obeyed for their superior endowments, and gradually became the priestly caste. As civilization enlarged, the the temporal state of the tribe, the religious societies grew to become powerful institutions, as in Central America. While the tribes remained nomadic, the medicine men were less resplendent and impressive, but their functions were no less significant. These holy persons seldom took part in war and frequently were distinguished by a costume combining elements of male and female attire. This practice, as has been common throughout the religious world, and has influenced the dress of pagan priests and Christian clergy alike. The androgynous human being, in whom there is a spiritual union of male and female attributes, has been widely accepted as personifying a superior type capable of a greater understanding of the father wisdom and mother love potencies of divinity. Such symbolism existed in all the great esoteric orders of the past. So there's a picture here. Sacred birch bark sacred birch bark record of the maid rituals from Hoffman's The Middewiwin Midewin Middewiwin Middewi oh no Middewiwin etc. And then over here there's another picture, and since I'm going to fix the focus, I'm just going to read this now too. This one says from Hoffman's of the Middewiwin, etc. This one says general view of the arrangement of the lodge of the mid. Oh, so it's Midwewin. Oh, who knows? Not I. So, focus for the pictures. Right, I have to do that. So that's the first one. It's really difficult to see that there's like hieroglyphics or cave drawings or whatever. Wood drawings. Birch bark. Which birch bark? That's a medicine. Awesome. Yeah, and like birch bark buds, then like in a I'm a lot of focus. 141. Boop. Yeah, great concoction you can make, right? A great healing concoction from the fresh buds from birch. Okay. Okay, pictures past. All right. While ethnologists may be reluctant to admit that the Indians had any formal concept of an esoteric religion, examination into the secret beliefs of the priests of the various tribes shows that they were verging towards the adept tradition. Oh man, I hope you guys have been able to hear me. Even if it had not matured among them. The Middewiwin, or Great Medicine Society of the Ojibways. Oh man. Someone recently told me how I'm supposed to pronounce that. I can't. Ojibwe. I apologize. Ojibways initiated both men and women into the secrets of the art of healing and the control of the vital current coursing through the nerve centers of the human body. The Society of the Mides, or shamans, had birch bark rolls which depicted the arrangements of the lodges and included many strange pictographs. Of these, W.J. Hoffman writes, "To persons acquainted with secret societies, A good comparison for the Midewewin charts would be what is called a trestle board of a Masonic order, which is printed and published and publicly exposed without exhibiting any secrets of the order. Yet it is not only significant but useful to the esoteric in assistance to their memory as to the details of the ceremony. And that, with that asterisk, says, see 7th Annual Report of the Bureau of Ethnology. The secrets of the Midewewin. Should I look it up? Let's just look it up. MIDE. Bottom paragraph. MIDEWIWIN. Pronunciation.
Midwewin. Midwewin.
Midwewin.
Midwewin.
Midwewin.
Midwewin.
Midwewin.
Midwewin.
Midwewin. Midwewin. Okay. I wasn't too... Midwewin. Okay. All right. Okay, Midwewin. Dean! Hey, dude, welcome in. Awesome-o. Okay, so the secrets of the Midwewin were originally communicated to mankind by initiate priest Manabozo, or Great Rabbit, who was a servant of the Good Spirit. The cross was an important symbol in the Midwewin rites, and it is interesting that the Mids steadfastly refused to give up their religion and be converted to Christianity. Boom, I like that. The controversy as to the possible Masonic significance of the Midwewin rites may be noted, but has slight bearing upon the essential facts. Although the birch bark rolls have bestowed prominence upon the activities of this society, other tribes practice equally significant rituals and ceremonies. Candidates advanced through 4 degrees, traveling towards the east, and the lodge rooms were enclosures open to the sky and connecting with each other through doors and passageways. The neophyte was tested and subjected to trials and hazards, and also was presented with a sequence of visual arrangements of symbols and other esoteric paraphernalia. The purpose of the Great Medicine Society, capitalized, was to enlighten the human mind and soul and to bind the initiates to the service of their people. It included a method for stimulating extrasensory perceptions and personal investigation into the secrets of nature, capitalized. In 1919, Arthur C. Parker was invited to a secret lodge of the Senecas to witness their ceremonies. Here he heard the legend of Red Hand, a culture hero, who could hold conversation with the Great Mystery. From the Great Mystery, he learned to love all the creatures of the earth, and he spoke the language of the birds and animals. Red Hand was slain by a poisoned arrow because he would not reveal to his assassin the secret of the spiritual power. The animals, discovering by the power of scent that their brother friend had been killed, gathered in council about his body to find the means of bringing him back to life. Each of the creatures gave part of himself to restore Red Hand to the living. At last, the bear came forward and, grasping the hand of the martyred hero, raised him by the strong grip of his paw. Those acquainted with the ritual of the 3rd degree of the Blue Lodge of Freemasonry will realize that this story must have originated among the rituals of the esoteric schools. So there's a picture here. It says 2 persons, possibly representing Deganawida and Hiawatha, standing in the presence of Atotharo, the sorcerer chief of the Iroquois. Ooh, cool. wonder where this picture. Oh, from the Schoolcrafts Indian tribes of the United States. Because I was going to say, dude, this looks great. This looks like, I don't know, like watercolor or something. Now to this screen. Doesn't that look cool? Yeah, and the different dress. I see that. Boop. Okay. So, Mr. Parker himself, a 32-degree Mason, sums up the account of his experience in the Rites of the Senecas. Thus, little has been told, the door has only been held ajar the slightest space, and no secrets have been revealed. There were feather wands and deerskins, but no purple robes or crowns. Yet, who shall say that the Senecas have not the thread of the language of Osiris, or that they have not the inherent Freemasonry? In the area centering in what is now New York State and extending north and south a considerable distance, the 5, later 6 nations comprising the Iroquois League attained a high state of social and political integrity. The 2 great leaders of these Amarins were Daganoweda and Hiawatha. It is impossible to study the life of Daganoweda, whose coming was announced by a mysterious visitor from the heaven world, without realizing that he fulfilled all the requirements of the adept tradition. Daganoweda was born of an immaculate conception, possessed the power to work miracles, prayed and fasted, practiced the vigils, and confirmed in his mission by the Great Father, and passed through numerous trials and persecutions. Hiawatha became his first and most distinguished disciple, and these 2, working together, sought to establish everlasting peace among their peoples. The founder of the Inca dynasty of Peru was the initiate statesman Manco Capac, who flourished in the 11th century AD. He reformed the social and religious life of the tribes of the Aymara Quichua race. In the capital city of Cusco, which he built, Manco Capac established the religion of the sun. He was a statesman of ability and claimed to be a direct descendant of the sun god. The empire of the Incas, which he founded, is remembered especially for its experiments in socialized living. Peru has the distinction of having cradled the first successful utopia. Manco Capac emerges as one of the world's outstanding social reformers, with a vision thousands of years ahead of his time. He is said to have brought with him to Peru a divine bird in a sacred wicker hamper. This golden falcon is a form of the phoenix and testifies to the presence of the adept doctrine. Manco Capac combines in his own person the offices of priest and king, like the Melchizedeks of Christian mysticism. Melchizedeks. Although some historians may be a trifle impulsive when they suggest that Manco Capac was a Buddhist priest, there can be no doubt that the Peruvian culture was heavily influenced by symbols, rituals, and philosophical elements usually associated with the trans-Himalayan area of Central Asia. In Daganoweda, with his great league, Quetzalcoatl, Kukulkan, and his splendid socialized empires in Mexico and Central America, the Manco Capac and the communal system which he set up in Peru, we have 3 clear and definite accounts of initiate leaders establishing schools of esoteric doctrines in the Western Hemisphere. From a consideration of their attainments and the systems which they inaugurated, we can come to but one conclusion. The mystery schools of antiquity were represented in the Americas by institutions identical in principle and in the purpose with those of Asia and the Mediterranean countries. Interesting. I wonder how much longer this next one is, because my stomach is grumbling. It's been 55 minutes. Oh, okay, no, that's where I started. I think I do want to keep reading, even though it seems like it's a big one, right? Wow, yeah, it goes a lot more. Do I call it or do I go for like another hour? You know what? I'm going to call it, and maybe I'll come back and read later today or whatever, but I'm off work tomorrow. Woo! So, yeah. Okay, so yeah. Next time I go live, whenever that may be, we're going to dig into Columbus, the Admiral of the Oceans. So sweet. Awesome to see you all here today. I love doing this. It's so cool, right? We're learning so many cool things. All right. I love you guys. And I'll see you next time, all right? Maybe later tonight, maybe not. We'll see what shakes. Mwah. Until then.